Hey guys, it's Pablo, the host of The Wine Maverick, and today's episode is brought to you by Identity Wine Company. Identity wines are truly artisan small lot wines sourced from unique vineyards throughout California and handcrafted in Napa Valley by me, Pablo Antonio Suarez. For more info, head over to www.identitywines.com where you can check out my current releases in the online bottle shop. You can check out wine club membership options and learn more about me and my journey in becoming a winemaker in Napa Valley. Identity Wine Company. Every bottle has a story. Ooh, Identity Wine. Yeah. Now, let's start the show.
The Wine Maverick is prepared for takeoff. Clear the runway. In 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to The Wine Maverick. I'm your host, Pablo Antonio Suarez, and with me, not in studio today, but coming from across the country, I have an amazing guest, somebody who I'm very surprised I was actually able to get. I called their agent just trying to figure it out and see if it would be possible, and he wasn't too busy today. So without further ado, I give you, in honor of Father's Day, my dad, Pablo Eduardo Suarez. Hey Dad, how are you?
Hey there, how are you?
I'm good, Pops. Thanks for coming on.
Well, I've been busy. But my agent managed to make room for you, and I'm happy for that.
I'm so glad that we made this work out. I know you're a busy man. You're in the car right now. You're doing really important things, and you gave me a few minutes. So I thank you so much.
Well, and I keep telling my agent that she very well knows that in the morning I do nothing, and in the afternoon I rest. So she doesn't get the message. She does not get the message.
That lovely retired life. Hopefully one day I'll experience it.
She missed the memo, I guess. That's what you say these days. Anyway, so good to talk to you, son. What's going on? How are things out in Cali?
Things are pretty nice. It's been a nice couple days. We have nice sun out here. We're past, of course, the rainy season on the vines. We're getting our fruit set, which is where we start really figuring out, what the next crop is going to look like for upcoming harvest. And it looks like it's going to be a pretty even, nice growing season. Let me knock on wood. But yeah, it's looking pretty good out here.
Are the grapes beginning to grow already? Is it visible growth and stuff?
Yes, we are past the flowering stage and we are starting to get little baby clusters of grapes. So that beginning growth stage has begun. And then we're all just waiting for veraison now, which is when the grapes start turning their colors and start getting into their beginning of their maturity. So yeah, it's exciting times.
So the vines are beautiful and green, and the grapes are still greenish, I gather, right?
Yes, they're very, very small. They're tiny and green.
Mm. And how about the mustards? Are they gone?
Mustards are gone. Yes, everything
Oh,
has
man.
been, cut or tilled back into the land. The mustards and the fava beans, those cover crops as we call them, are usually mowed into the land to add nutrients for the vines that are coming out of their slumber. So that's usually happening like right around just before into springtime.
For for whomever has never seen the mustards among the dormant vines, it's a sight to see. So highly recommend that off-season trip to wine growing country because the vines covered hillsides covered with mustards. It's just a beautiful sight to see. Actually, if you ask me, all four seasons in the vineyards have their magic. Dormant season with the mustards, then bud break, then this that's going on right now, and then the grapes are in full view at one point. And then in the fall, everything turns beautiful orange and red, and it's yellow, orange, red. Man, it's spectacular.
Yes, it really is. I mean, it's really cool seeing all the different, shades of green and then what like you said into the fall kind of dormancy when the vines start, falling asleep and then getting into their oranges and yellows. It's almost like it's like being in a not a time capsule, but you're literally seeing just like, development and growth and eventual decay all around you and it's the life cycle. It's beautiful.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah.
That's one thing we miss in Florida.
Yeah, it's always green in Florida, right?
It's always green, yeah.
Yeah.
Except when it doesn't rain, then it gets nasty brown. I mean, the trees usually remain green. It's the grass that suffers a little bit more if you don't have sprinkler system. Anyway, what are we drinking today?
Well, that's the thing. I was gonna ask you. I'm not actually drinking anything. In such a hurry to get you as my the one guest that I wanted, I forgot to open a bottle of wine.
Well, that's not good news. That's not good on a wine podcast.
I know.
But we'll forgive you. And I shouldn't be drinking while I'm driving, so I guess it'll be okay.
Yeah. I do have a bottle here. I won't open it just because it's gonna take too much time. But I'm in my little office and I have a couple of bottles of wine that I usually just kind of keep around. And I have a bottle that I'm just gonna kind of shout it out just because it's a person that I met when I was putting wine into my storage unit, and another winemaker. We cross paths, and as winemakers usually do, we usually have a bottle or two on us. And since I was in my wine storage, I had a bunch of wine. And I see this guy, he's loading into his unit, a few, parcels away from mine. And we get to talking. We find out we're both winemakers, and he gifted me a bottle of his wine. So beautiful label. And the wine is called 2018 The Dream of Spring. It is a blend. We're looking at 66% Syrah, 19% Mourvedre, 12% Grenache, and then a little bit of 3% of Petite Syrah. And it's Stereophonic Wines is the person, this person's label. And this is a cool bottle of wine. I'll probably open it and taste it in another episode. But check out Stereophonic Wines because he was actually really gracious and cool, and we chatted for a bit and we exchanged bottles. So I always love when that happens amongst winemakers or amongst other creatives. It's a really cool kind of collaborative, communal, thing.
That sounds great. He only gifted you one bottle?
One bottle, yeah, and then I gifted him my Crisis or my Viognier, but I was just one of those quick things, we're both putting our wines in storage, and then he's there, I spark up a conversation, and then by the end of it, we're exchanging bottles. So it's like one of those cute little, one of those cute things that happens.
Well, hopefully you'll have another cute meeting like that, and he'll give you another bottle so I can taste it when I go visit you.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. That blend is very interesting. Those are a lot of what we call Rhone style varietals, like the Syrah, the Mourvedre, the Grenache, and those are a really fun kind of approachable, softer wines. So yeah, those are always fun to do and drink.
And what's the overall color of the wine in the bottle? Does it look like a nice deep red, or is it kind of more like a light Pinot Noir?
It's hard to tell when it's in the bottle, because it's got,
Okay.
it's going
Yeah.
through that brown glass. But I would guess it's
Okay.
going to be kind of like just above Pinot Noir territory, but not so thick as or red as Cab.
Okay.
Because what's in there, which is a really good exercise actually. But what's in there is Mourvedre, a little bit of Grenache, and then Syrah and Petite Syrah. And Petite Syrah is really where you're going to get that color. Petite Syrah is just inky red. So-
Right.
But there's only 3% of it in there, so it can't be that much.
Okay, and the Mourvedre, I mean, as an example, your Mourvedre, it looks very light on the glass or in the glass, and almost like a rosé. But man, that the flavors and the taste and the aroma and the bouquet and the nose is spectacular. I mean, it's so deceiving when you see such a light colored wine in a glass, and then you take it to your nose and to your lips, and your palate just has a feast with it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, and that's the thing. The Mourvedre that I make is just 100% Mourvedre grape, and Mourvedre, however you want to pronounce it, you can pronounce it two different ways. If there was a Frenchman on or listening to this, he would probably be, just really disgusted because it's Mourvedre. You keep the RE, silent, but I say it how I see it, and I Mourvedre, and a lot of us do it, and a lot of winemakers do it. It doesn't matter, but sometimes I catch myself and I say it both ways because I'm just crazy that way. But yes, Mourvedre it's funny you mentioned rosé because a lot of winemakers in France and the Rhone and some here do make a rosé from Mourvedre because it is light, it's
It
bright.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Makes
like-
perfect sense.
it's very fruity. It's fun. Mourvedre in Spain is called Monastrell, so Monastrell, same
Okay.
exact, the same grape. So that happens a lot in in grape varietals. You know, it's called one thing somewhere, but it's the same grape is called something else somewhere else. So that's one of those funny one of
Let me, you just brought a memory back to me, and I'm here. I'm actually in Lake Placid, where we used to have your wines at Bella Gusto, olive oil and flavored vinegars.
Oh yeah,
And I used to do the wine tastings, which were very successful and very popular. And we would pack them into the store. The customers on a beautiful Saturdays. There's a small farmers market going on Saturday here at the town center.
lovely.
And I've told you before, we've talked while Mom and I have been here, and it's like a Hallmark movie. It's just perfection. Anyway, going back to the Mourvedre, one of the usual, the regular customers that would come in was a doctor lady, beautiful lady, but she was from Haiti. And of course, being from Haiti, she knows the correct pronunciation of Mourvedre. I couldn't even begin to pronounce it like she does, and I would make so much fun of her because it was beautiful, but it was totally different than what than what we pronounce it as, And we had a ton of fun with that, I miss those days when I used to do tastings.
Yeah, we got to get you back on the road and doing tastings. You know, since you are the official, unofficial Identity Wine Company brand ambassador and Florida key sales rep.
I'm glad you say that, and I'm glad that you say it to your audience because I enjoyed it very much. But I'm still waiting for that expense account for that. Yeah, 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 yeah. I need to wine and dine people. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm still waiting, and hopefully it'll
Wait,
happen soon.
you haven't been getting all those checks I've been sending in the mail?
Oh, man. Maybe it's because I moved recently.
You should probably track those down.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, no, it's fun, kind of the focus when I started Identity was to kind of shine a light on those varietals that are a little bit more under the radar, more obscure. Mourvedre is definitely one of those. It's always fun, and it's been really cool since you do these tastings out in the market. You would always tell me that people, like they didn't know what to expect. They tried it. They didn't, they said it looked weak like Pinot Noir and that they weren't going to like it, and then they were blown away. And I think Mourvedre has the power to do that. It's so underrated, and there's different ways you can make it. I chose to do mine in the traditional Rhone French style, which is to leave a little bit of whole clusters to do what they call a whole cluster fermentation, and that adds a whole nother complexity kind of and layer that makes the wine really fun, really, really fun.
Yeah, you always have a way of selecting these rare varietals. At least to me, people probably don't know that I've applied tremendous pressure for you to make wines of grapes that everyone knows. And at the beginning, when I would ask you, but why are you making this varietal? Nobody makes these varietals. And your answer usually would be, Dad, that's exactly why I'm making it, because no one else does. And I go, damn, damn, this is going to be hard to sell. And needless to say, I did have to talk a little bit more about those varietals when I presented, because people are not familiar with Val d'Agui. People were not familiar with Mourvedre on its own. People were not familiar with Viognier. But you know what? All it took was for me to give a brief explanation with my limited knowledge of these varietals, and get them to taste it, sometimes against their will. Oh, but I don't like whites. This Viognier is for people that don't like whites. Try it. Oh my God, can I take 3 bottles? Yes, you can, of course. Same thing with the Mourvedre. Never had Mourvedre. What is this? Well, only one way to find out, but it's so light. Taste it. But I don't like weak wines. I don't like light wines. Please taste it. Oh my God, this is so good. And the other one was the Val d'Agui. What the hell is that? Huh. It's a party in a bottle with your pet nat Val d'Agui.
Not only exactly, I was gonna say not only is it a Val d'Agui, which is completely rare and you don't see a lot of anyway, but then I went ahead and made it a freaking pet nat, so it's just like it's like a rare unicorn.
Okay, and then there's the Tannat. What the hell is that? Nobody knows that grape. I didn't know that grape, and that's the one that's the grape that you use for the Je ne sais quoi, right?
Yes, the Je ne sais quoi. Yeah, which is a really fun, French word for I don't know what. And that's really what that wine is all about, because it's, excuse me, It's the Tannat grape, which is inky, oily, red, really big, very tannic. It's huge. And then I, did not take it in through crush. I just kind of extracted the juice by foot treading it. So the juice came out kind of white. And then as I'm going through my natural fermentation, I'm realizing that the Tannat that is supposed to be inky red is like this weird gold white color, and I'm freaking out. So then I start blending in some Syrah and Mourvedre to bump up the color, and it turns into like this weird rosé. But not really, it's like an orange wine.
Not really.
Yeah.
Not even orange. It's well, kind of,
Yeah.
sort of. It's very unique.
Yeah, it's very unique. So that, I take this thing through fermentation, and I'm like, this thing is gonna be, what do they call that in the, like, anything, like an albatross, like it's like an amalgamation of a bunch of things that you're just kind of piecing together. And then, we can freak out, we can look at the wine, and we can, be scared. But the one thing that was a really big learning lesson as a winemaker, it's like, dude, taste it. Does it taste good? And that's what it was. So I tasted it shortly after primary fermentation and was like, oh my God, this tastes like an orange creamsicle. This is really delicious. What am I freaking out about? Let's just let this happen. And that's exactly how the Je ne sais quoi came to be.
But how did the name come about?
The name came about, I don't remember how the name came about. What are you talking
I
about?
think it was something like you and Sheena were discussing it or talking about it, if I remember correctly. And it was like, I don't know what it is about this wine, but it's great. And I think Sheena was the one that came up with the phrase "je ne sais quoi," which is a very common phrase in French to explain, like I don't know what, but
Yes, yeah, that's exactly right. So yeah,
Okay.
Sheena was doing a lot of research as to what to call this bottling, and the whole time, we're just going back and forth. You guys are involved. You, Mom, and Mia are all involved in the creation of this wine and the process, and we're all just stumped as to what we're gonna call this thing. But we kept on circling back to the phrase. I don't know what it is, but I know I like it, and that it was when Sheena found je ne sais quoi, which literally means I don't know what. I don't know
Exactly,
what.
exactly. That's the
Yeah.
way I tell the story when I present your wines. I think it's it'd be interesting for listeners to know that what goes on in your mind, especially your crazy little artistic mind, when we're upon a label design or a name for a particular varietal. Most of the time, you have your names figured out even before you make the wine, and that saves a lot of time. But other times, we brainstorm for weeks and weeks as to what the label's gonna look like, as to what the name of the wine is gonna be, what it's going to be like. And that's one of the reasons that, besides the story behind the making of the wine, there's always a story behind the bottle you use, the label you use, the colors that you use, and the name. It's intensive. It's time consuming.
It
And that
is.
takes us to the Chenin Blanc, another varietal that is not very common. But what a fantastic wine. What do we call the Chenin Blanc?
Yeah, sticking with the French motif here, this one's called Recherche.
What the
Yeah.
hell is that? I forgot what we had called. I guess that was Sheena's idea too, or yours.
Yeah, that was no,
Recherche.
that was all.
Please.
That was all Sheena too. Sheena has been very
Yeah.
influential in some
She
of the naming.
absolutely
Well,
has.
a lot of identity wine company is very
Yeah.
Sheena has been very influential on. But yes, that was another one where the Chenin Blanc Recherche is a French
Recherche.
term for rare exotic beauty.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you
and
go. There you
that
go.
was something that we were, we were just kind of, again, going through a little bit of writer's block. We didn't really know. We knew we had a beautiful wine. We had a local graffiti artist. Well, he's not a graffiti artist. I'm sorry. He is an amazing muralist. His name is Kalani Ware. He does do a couple of outdoor murals or like almost graffiti, but he also has really beautiful, like colorful floral patterns that he gets commissioned to do. He's based out of Oakland, and we saw his mural one day, and Sheena was like, I like this. This is cool. This might be a fun wine label. Let's get in touch with him. So she got in touch with him. He was more than happy to do a wine label. It was his first ever wine label commission, and he took it seriously. And he, tapped into my Cuban descent background and chose to do a little design of oh my God, I'm butchering this, but he decided to do a tribute to my Cuban heritage by doing a drawing of Cuba's national flower, which you know the name of it more than I do at this point because I'm blanking.
Well, it's like a lily. Cubans call it a mariposa, which is the same name we use for a butterfly.
Hmm.
So it's a mariposa.
The butterfly
Uh,
lily, basically.
A butterfly lily, and I'm sure there's a whole scientific name for it. But yeah, just like the tocororo is the Cuban national bird because
Right.
it's red, white, and blue, like the Cuban flag and the American flag. It's endemic to only to Cuba. This flower apparently is Cuba's. It grew all over the place in Cuba, like just like a wild lily. It's beautiful.
Yeah, no, it is a beautiful flower. So he kind of tapped into that and put this beautiful, kind of multicolored drawing of the lily with the recherche. It's a very classy, like beautiful, well, minimal but also very playful label. And yeah, recherche, rare, exotic, beautiful. What's more rare and exotic than a beautiful,
And a beautiful wine. And the label is really it's one of my favorite labels because it's just so easy on the eyes and it's just so elegant, but at the same time, just simple. It's a simple elegance, and it reflects, in my mind, it reflects the vibrancy of the wine in the bottle and the refinement of the wine in the bottle, but at the same time, just so easy to drink and so simple and beautiful. It's like a beautiful lady, like a beautiful French lady, actually. That label to me in summer, of course, spring or summer, because of the flowers. Anyway, I'm getting carried away here with romance.
Do you see, guys, why I made this amazing gentleman my brand ambassador and sales manager? Because he's got away with words with these wines.
I tell you, I tell you, I tell you, I tell you, it is so. When I tell you a story, needless to say, I get emotional because it comes from the heart. And I'm not a public speaker. For God's sakes, I'm shy, I'm timid, but I have no problem. I've actually gotten up. The biggest wine tasting we had was at a local place here at the Sand Hill Grill in Pinecrest Country Club. Place was sold out, and that was the biggest crowd I had. Man, we had like 10 tables of, I want to say, about 15, 20 tables, long tables, actually. I was the only way they could fit so many people in. Anyway, probably 100 to 150 people. I usually, by the time we did that tasting, I have presented your wines in many places. But yeah, I had no issue getting up and telling your story and watching all these local and snowbirds that usually flock to our Central Florida location especially from the Midwest, from Canada. Lovely people, some of whom I know from the community and from playing pickleball. And they came to this wine tasting, a wine pairing dinner, actually, is what it was. And I told your story. And of course, I get a little choked up and a little emotional at, a couple of places in the story. And the people in the in the audience, you could see their eyes beginning to tear up and to get watery. And yeah, because when I tell you a story, not only I'm telling it from the heart, from the soul, and I guess I transmit that to people. But it's also because I think you're making fantastic wines, and the varietals, the bottles, the labels, the design, the colors, it all comes together. And when I explain that to people, people get it. Man, they get why you called your first wine the outsider. I tell that story all the time.
Yeah.
And and they eat it up. It's just fantastic. And when I go through each and every of the varietals, I usually talk about how they came about. People love it. When I talk about Magnate, and I say that Magnate was my dad, your grandfather, and they read the label, they read what's behind the label that you wrote from the heart. People, they can't hold their tears back. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I like to think that you and we have managed to make a connection with our friends and family and customers and neighbors. And the connection is made. Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's great. I enjoy those tastings so much because of that.
Yeah, no, it's sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but it's a very much you just hit the nail on the head and it's connection. It's using what I've got, what Mother Nature's given me to connect with who I am, who you are, who my grandfather, your father was, and making this beautiful kind of tribute to him. And that's just one bottling, that's the Magnate. And it's just me really for the first time in my life, I think, using all of this tangible physical stuff to tap into things that I'm passionate about and then offer a tangible bottle of something to these people that tells a story of who I am and who we are. And I think that is what makes what wine is to me and what makes it so much fun, because it's literally an expression of me.
And that's what I think sets you apart. Yeah, among many things and many gifts that you have as a human being, you're able to transmit that through your art, which is winemaking, to the public. That's what a great thing. What a great thing. People can actually taste your soul through your wine.
I love that. Every bottle has a story, right?
It does. It
Yeah.
does.
No, it's cool. It's I never would have thought I'd be here, with the way, so of course, growing up in Florida and like not even being around wine, but like, just growing an appreciation for it, and then eventually having that crazy idea one day to be like, "Huh, what if I tried to make this stuff?" Like it's just who thinks that and who actually follows through with all that. I mean, a lot of people do. A lot of winemakers have that same thought, but it came from such an unlikely place, I think, and it's just really fun that I've pursued it. So yeah, I don't know. It's been great, and thank you for your kind words, Dad. I mean, all of this is because of you and Mom, and having that nurturing kind of relationship, and just you letting me kind of just branch out and go pursue something. I don't know how many parents would actually, when the pedal comes to the metal, and me saying, a son telling their parents that they want to do something, sometimes it doesn't go out, it doesn't work out that way, because it's like, no, you're going to stay home. We can't do this, or you should not do that. Maybe try something else. And you guys were brave enough to let me go venture out on this journey. So I really appreciate you for that.
Son, it's Father's Day is coming up. And I learned that from my father, your grandfather. And I mean, if you never have a son or a daughter of your own, it's okay. Mom and I are cool with that. But if you ever do, you will realize what just fatherhood brings to a man. And on top of that, if you can manage to have an influence on your son, and if you can manage to have an impact on your son, and if you're in a position to help your son reach for his dream and accomplish his dreams, let me tell you, as a father, and on that note, maybe we should end this, as a father,
Yeah.
that is the greatest feeling on earth, in the universe, basically. So yeah, it's all good, and we're happy to be here. Mom and I are your biggest fans. Most of our friends and family, neighbors, and are your biggest fans. Not only because of who you are, but because you make damn good wine. Yeah, and they tell us all the time. And when we do the tastings, they tell us all the time. People that don't know us, they validate our bias, because of course we are biased, but they validate it. They go, no man, your son is a great winemaker. This is great stuff. So yes, I'm so glad that I was able to, we were able to have this chat just before Father's Day. And I mean, needless to say, we talk every day, twice a day at least, because that's who you are again. And for that, I will always be thankful. I hear many parents complain that their children never call them, never visit them, never, I don't want to say that I don't miss you, but I miss you. I miss you much less, because we talk every day. So about
Of course.
everything.
Yep.
From the weather to the food you ate last night, or what you're planning to cook for dinner tonight,
Yeah.
and everything in between. So I know everything that's going on with your life, and Sheena's life, and Fig's life, and yeah, it's great to be a father, and it's even greater to be your father.
Thanks, Dad. I love you so much, and I just want to thank you for coming on and spending, these few minutes with me. I know you'd stop the world to get on and do this to me, and sometimes, we tried to line this up a couple times, and we made it happen, and I'm really happy that we did. You've always been there for me, no matter what. I've called you even when I was living at home and I had an issue. You would stop everything to make sure that I got what I needed, and I really appreciate that. There's an acronym, ASNF, which stands for A Son Never Forgets, and I will never forget all the little things that you have done to put me where I am and to get me where I'm going. So happy Father's Day to you. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there. And yeah, love you, Pops. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the call, and I will wish everyone a happy Father's Day. And you find an acronym for this that I am going to tell you. A father will be there for you until the end of time. I love
that.
you.
I love you, Dad. That's awesome. Yeah, let's end it here. I know you're a busy man. Your agent
Oh
already
man,
called.
my phone is it's ringing off the hook. I gotta go.
All right. Bye, guys.
See
Bye,
you.
Dad. We'll see you. Yeah.
Talk
Happy
to
Father's Day.
you soon. Thank you, and you too. You are a father to Faith.
That's right.
Already. Goodbye, guys, and goodbye to your listeners. And happy Father's Day to all the listeners and their dads.
We'll end it on that. Lovely. Cheers. Bye.
Already. Cheers. Goodbye.